Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this session, let us discuss about the energy and weather derivatives. These instruments may sound complex, but by breaking them down into simple and relatable examples, we can understand their importance and application. So let's get started. An energy derivative is a financial tool whose value is derived from energy commodities like crude oil, natural gas, or electricity. These derivatives can take various forms, including futures, options, and swaps, and they are traded either on a formal exchanges or directly between parties through over the counter transactions. Geopolitical tensions like the Russia Ukraine war have had a huge impact on energy markets. Russia, a major exporter of oil and natural gas, faced sanctions that disrupted global supplies, causing energy prices to soar. So, this left industries and households struggling with higher costs, especially in Europe, which relied heavily on Russian gas. So, companies turn to energy derivatives like oil and gas futures to lock in the prices and protect themselves from sudden price spikes. Similarly, conflicts in the Middle East, a key oil producing region, often lead to uncertainty, making these derivatives essential for managing risks during such crises. Global warming and climate changes are also creating new challenges for businesses. Extreme weather events like hurricanes, heat waves, and droughts are becoming more common, disrupting industries and economies. Businesses use weather derivatives to manage these kind of risks. Farmers, for instance, hedge against losses from droughts, while power companies prepare for sudden spikes in energy demand. So these tools act as a financial shield, helping businesses stay resilient in the face of unpredictable climate and geopolitical changes. So the primary users of energy derivatives fall into two categories. The first category includes industrial companies that heavily depend on energy commodities for their operations. The second category consists of financial institutions who invest in energy markets. For example, an investment firm holding shares in an oil company may face significant losses if oil prices fall. So, to mitigate this risk, the firm can use derivatives like short futures or put options that gain value when oil prices drop, thus balancing out any potential financial setbacks. Moving on, let us examine the global energy market. So, crude oil production is dominated by the US, Russia, and Saudi Arabia, which jointly account for 35% of the world's oil production. Russia and Qatar are the largest producers of natural gas in the world. Relatively, natural gas is considered to be a much cleaner source of energy from an environmental perspective. OPEC countries account for 35% of the world's output but controls nearly 75% of the potential reserves. Crude oil prices are influenced by various factors, including decisions made by the OPEC, US crude inventory levels, global refining demand, economic conditions, and geopolitical events. Market speculation also plays a significant role in driving the price volatility. So, crude oil prices are typically quoted in dollars per barrel, and two major benchmarks dominate the market: Brent crude, which is used primarily in Europe and Asia, and West Texas Intermediate, that is a WTI crude, which is the US benchmark. Natural gas, often referred to as a cleaner energy source due to its lower pollutant emissions compared to the crude oil, is another critical commodity. So, major producers include Russia and Qatar, with India ranking as the seventh largest producer globally. So, natural gas serves multiple purposes, including power generation, industrial fuel, and fertilizer production. The oil and gas industry operates through three distinct segments: upstream, midstream, and downstream. The upstream segment involves the initial stages of energy production process, such as the geological surveys to locate reserves and the extraction of crude oil through drilling. So, Indian companies like ONGC, Cairn India, and Reliance Industries operate in this segment alongside global giants like Shell, BP, Chevron, etc. High oil prices generally benefit upstream companies because their fixed production costs translate into higher profit margins. However, low oil prices can be detrimental to these firms. The midstream segment serves as a link between upstream and downstream operations. Midstream companies focus on transporting crude oil to refineries via pipelines, tankers, or ships. So these companies often act as wholesalers of crude oil and prefer stable prices since market volatility can disrupt their operations. Examples of midstream companies include TransCanada and Spectra Energy. Finally, the downstream segment processes crude oil into usable products such as petrol, diesel, kerosene, and aviation fuel. These companies also handle the distribution of these products to consumers. In India, BPCL, HPCL, and IOC are the prominent downstream players. Low crude oil prices benefit downstream companies by reducing their raw material costs. So, energy derivatives are also actively traded in India, particularly on the Multi Commodity Exchange, that is MCX. Crude oil derivatives are offered in two contract sizes: the main contract with a lot size of 100 barrels and the mini contract with a lot size of 10 barrels. Prices are quoted in dollars per barrel. Similarly, natural gas contracts are available in standard and mini sizes, measured in metric million British thermal units, which is MMBTU, and quoted in rupees per MMBTU. By engaging in energy derivatives trading, businesses and traders can effectively hedge against price volatility, ensuring financial stability. So, now that we have explored the energy derivatives, let us turn our attention to weather derivatives. Unlike traditional derivatives linked to commodities or financial instruments, weather derivatives derive their value from weather related factors such as temperature, rainfall, and wind. These financial tools are especially beneficial for industries whose operations are directly impacted by weather conditions. Large scale farmers in the Western markets often rely on weather derivatives to protect themselves against poor harvests caused by frost, drought, or excessive rainfall. Similarly, energy companies use these instruments to stabilize their earnings during periods of unusual temperature fluctuations. Weather derivatives are typically based on indices that measure specific weather parameters. Two common indices are heating degree days HDD and cooling degree days CDD. Heating degree days measure the need for heating during the cold weather. For instance, if the average temperature in June is 12 degrees Celsius, the HDD index for the month is calculated as the difference between 18 degrees Celsius and the average temperature multiplied by the number of days in the month. Cooling degree days, on the other hand, measure the demand for cooling during the hot weather. So these indices form the basis for settling weather derivative contracts. So, unlike most other derivatives, weather contracts are settled in cash rather through the physical delivery of an underlying asset. Such contracts provide invaluable financial protection for industries heavily influenced by weather variability. So, in conclusion, energy derivatives and weather derivatives are powerful tools that help businesses and traders manage risks in uncertain and volatile markets. Energy derivatives protect against fluctuations in oil and gas prices, enabling companies to stabilize their operations and maintain financial predictability. Weather derivatives, on the other hand, provide an innovative solution to weather related risks, ensuring financial stability for industries ranging from agriculture to energy. So, these financial instruments illustrate the intersection of finance, energy, and the environment, addressing real world challenges with practical solutions. So, I hope this lecture has provided clarity on the concepts of energy and weather derivatives. Thank you.